Just to let you know, I might not laugh when I watch this video because I've watched it a couple times. It's no offense to Drew. Hey guys, this is Martin Wright from Margot's Dog Training, and today we have something very exciting. At least I hope it's very exciting and very fun. At least I hope it's very fun. We're gonna be watching comedian Drew Lynch as he's talking about, he's doing his comedy act. If you don't know Drew Lynch, I believe he was on America's Got Talent years and years ago. He also came to the International Association of Canine Professionals conference a couple of years back. I was able to meet him. I was able to meet his dog, Stella. It was pretty cool, Yeah, so as he's going through his stand-up routine here about a very relevant topic to dogs and dog training, I'm gonna cut in every once in a while to be able to make some comments on the side about it. All right, so I hope you enjoy the video. We're gonna start in 3, 2, 1, starting now.
I walk my dog on a regular leash, not a retractable leash. If you don't, if you don't know what a retractable leash is, it is basically a tape measure that you attach to your dog to measure how shitty of an owner you are. So.
Okay, so. I guess the first thing I want to say about this is that while the majority of trainers do not, at least the majority of my training friends who I know, people who I know, we do not use the retractable leashes on our dogs. There are trainers out there who teach their dogs and train dogs with retractable leashes. Yeah, I'll just continue on that. You don't have to be necessarily a shitty dog owner to have a retractable leash, but if you're negligent, I think is where we're heading. We'll see.
Yeah. But, don't worry. If your dog wanders too far, there is a button you can press to choke it. So.
Okay, so the button on the retractable leash that I believe my friend here is referring to is the button that stops it from moving forward. You can hit that button. It will not choke the dog. It will just stop the leash. But yeah.
Me and my dog, we have a safe word, but you do whatever. It's true. You ever seen a dog walk on one of those things? It has no idea if it's on a leash. It's always a 300-foot radius ahead of the owner, tripping innocent civilians as it crushes its windpipe in the process.
Okay, so yes, retractable leashes can get far away from the owner, and it can trip people if people are not paying attention. Crushing the windpipe, well, that's really the dog pulling on the leash that's crushing the windpipe. It can be negligent to use a retractable leash without training. If I have a dog on a buckle collar and they start from 100 feet that way and they run full speed to 100 feet that way, there's a chance that they could hurt themselves and damage their trachea. So I want to make sure, even although I have a retractable leash on my dog, I have communication skills with my dog, right? Yeah.
Every little dog I see on retractable leash is always.
Every little dog I see just about is like that anyway. Train your dogs.
That's probably how pugs were invented, to be honest. That's what happened. A French bulldog went for a retractable leash walk. A little lost air and his eyes popped from his sockets. Pug.
All right, so that's funny. All right, the thing I really stopped this for is just to let you know that actually happens to pugs. Their eyes actually do pop out of their sockets. It does happen on a regular basis. Not every pug, not every situation. And if you put pressure on their neck, it can happen in that way. Be careful with the pugs. Also, to the breeders out there, breed hardy dogs. Some people think pugs are cute. Yeah. breed hardy dogs. That's what we need. We don't need dogs that we're walking them and their eye literally falls out, because it does happen. I'm not kidding. It does happen.
Sometimes I'll see dogs that are smaller than the leash itself, and that is physics I cannot get behind.
Okay, so now, all right. Smaller than the leash itself. Dogs is smaller than the retractable leash. It is a possibility. I don't understand the part with the physics I can't get behind. Also, before he said something like in front of me at a radius. You can't be in front and at a radius at the same time. I think it's supposed to be comedy, but I don't like that kind of thing. Anyway.
Like there was this one time I was back home and then in Los Angeles, I was walking my dog on a regular leash, and on a retractable leash, I saw this Chihuahua that was walking its lady. And the Chihuahua charged at my dog, okay? And from a kilometer away, I say kilometer because this bitch was in Canada. The lady pressed the button, and I am not exaggerating. The Chihuahua went.
Yeah, that's funny.
I could have saved him. But the portal was closed. It was too late. That dog belongs to the past now. I'd never seen a Chihuahua zipline before. That was adorable. No helmet. I hope he signed the terms and conditions.
So when you have a retractable leash, definitely if you have a very small dog, even if you hit the lock button all of a sudden or the stop button all of a sudden, if they have momentum going forward, they hit the end of that. They can't move backward. They can't bounce back. So that is funny. Once again, get training for the dog, because I know that's putting a lot of pressure on their trachea. You know, so you want to make sure that your dog is not uncomfortable as you're walking them.
I thought that was the end of the exchange, and until the lady and I crossed paths about an hour later. You know, she had to get through customs, and she was apologizing profusely. She was like, I'm sorry. My Chihuahua's just a bit overly friendly. I was like, yeah, your yo-yo's a bit aggressive.
All right. Your yo-yo's a bit aggressive. Yeah. I don't know why people do that, but I get a lot of, my dog is friendly, as the dog is not listening or paying attention to the owner. And a lot of the times the dog is actually doing aggressive behavior, you know, at least a behavior that us humans would consider aggressive. Like the dog is running full speed, making eye contact, staring at my dog and running full speed towards him without barking, with the mouth closed and puckered. All right, if I saw a person on the street running at me full speed, you know, mouth puckered, and staring at me, I would consider that an aggressive act, right? So even if the person runs up and tries to give me a hug, even if they're giving me a hug, if I don't know that person, that is an aggressive act, in my opinion. So be careful with your dogs, you know, you shouldn't allow your dog on a retractable leash in the vicinity of a lot of other dogs and people if your dog has behavioral issues, unless you keep that leash short, unless you lock it down and you make it so that way the dog is next to you. Even then, you want to get help to get your dog around people. It is not cute. The dog is not being friendly. When they're rushing at other dogs full speed, barking, growling, or not barking, puckered lips, you know, all eyes, all predatory action, it's not friendly, you know. They might not escalate to a fight, but it's not a friendly behavior. Just so you know, in case you cared.
And she was like, well, I don't understand the problem here. I was like, here's the problem here is, thank God my dog is not also aggressive, because she is much bigger than your dog. And if when your dog charged, my dog had charged, it would have just ate. Yes, Chihuahua.
All right, so he has a Vizsla, and it wouldn't have eaten the Chihuahua. But it could have picked it up by the back of the neck and shook it one time and killed it. Facts.
You would have then pressed the button and just caught my dog. You can't be fishing for bigger breeds out here. It's illegal, I think. The lady's like, well, I like my dog to have freedom for when we go on walks. And I was like, yeah, but in the city, it's a bit too much freedom, wouldn't you say? Here's an example. We're talking. Your dog is across the street right now, about to clothesline an SUV. It's Red Rover send the Range Rover over. It's not gonna go good.
So I want my dog to have freedom. Yeah, I want my dog to have freedom too. A retractable leash can give you freedom in certain situations, but Drew here is pretty right. You know, in the middle of a city, with a dog that is practicing aggressive behaviors and unwanted behaviors, you have to be careful when you give that kind of dog freedom. Training gives the dog freedom. When I want my dog to be free, I let her off the leash. And I'm sure she'll come back to me when I call her. That is important. Going from here, though, the dog being across the street. Funny story on that. When I started out with dogs, maybe it was a little after I started out with dogs, I was walking dogs with my wife. My wife has a walking company that I'm also co-owner of. And I was walking dogs, and one day, it was a nice spring day, I decided I would take a dog for a walk on a retractable leash. This was long before we had cell phones and we were using them all the time. Cell phones were there, but we weren't using them all the time. It was probably like 12, 13, 14 years ago. It's not like how it is today. And I was just walking the dog down the street, minding my business, listening to some music. And I look over and the dog was actually in the street. And after that, I was like, you know what? I can't use retractable leashes anymore. I didn't even feel the sensation of the dog pulling out the leash. When I'm a walker, I can't use them. I do use them with my puppies. When Dee Dee was a puppy, I had her on a retractable leash in my backyard. I felt that was completely fine. But if you have the leash unlocked and the dog is not really trained to do things wisely, they can do things quickly that we're not even aware of. You know, I'm walking the dog next to me on a wide sidewalk, and the dog really was in the street. I was very embarrassed. I got the dog back, and we continued walking. I locked it out, and we continued walking. All right, here we go.
And the lady's like, well, since you so adamantly disagree with the invention, why don't you take it up with the inventor, who's still alive, by the way. Her name's Mary Delaney, in case you wanted to know. I was like, I did not. But I could see how that makes sense. I think a woman could invent something with the illusion of, go, be free, psych!
Burn.
Edgy. I did that joke one time, and a guy came up to me after a show, visibly upset. He was like, I didn't quite appreciate that retractable leash bit.
You're in Cleveland, man.
I walk my dog on a retractable leash. And I was like, I know, you're holding one. I met your dog 10 minutes ago. He's probably home by now, so. And the guy was like, it just didn't make for a very good end to the night. And I was like, look, man, everything I say up here is lighthearted. It's meant to be taken in jest and not too seriously. But if I did say something that has sincerely upset you, then I would like to apologize. I'm sorry, and I take it back. And the guy was like, well, the damage is already done, man. You can't just take it back. And I was like, sure I can. It's retractable.
That is important as well. The damage that your dog can do to another dog or to another person while wearing a retractable leash is not retractable, right? You can't just press a button and it just didn't happen, right? So be careful out there. The damage done to your dog when they're on a retractable leash in one instant of inattention can be dangerous. I'm not telling you not to use retractable leashes. I'm telling you to train your dog. Once you have a dog trained, it doesn't matter. None of this stuff, harness, leash, collar, none of that stuff matters anymore. But with an untrained dog, you have to be careful. And the fixed standard leash limits options of the dog, and it makes it harder for them to get themselves in trouble, even if we are not paying attention, even if we're being an empty boat that day and we're not aware of the world. The dog is 6 feet from us, rather than 30 feet or 100 feet or whatever. Be careful with retractable leashes. Definitely read the instructions. I could tell you horror stories. Maybe we'll make a YouTube video one day about horror stories with retractable leashes. People lose digits with those things and so forth and so on when they're misused. So please be careful and enjoy your dog. If you like what you see here in this video, definitely subscribe to our channel. Definitely check out the description below so you could check out our other social media outlets. And until the next time, enjoy your day and enjoy your dog.